We all need to break through a kind of inertial thinking, or what we call lazy thinking. Actually, each of us.
They are unwilling to let themselves grow, often finding all kinds of excuses for themselves. In the end, I really believed it. Even Confucius, after hearing Yan Hui talk about the way of sitting and looking, said it. And as a result, it turned out to be autumn. Please admire Confucius in his later years from behind your ears. Sincerely speaking, there are also places where I don't play the guitar, and there are many places where I can't keep up with him.
Being too weak is not enough. Everyone has to admit their own shortcomings, but they cannot excuse themselves or make excuses for themselves.
An excuse for not being diligent. For someone at a higher level than us, we have to rely on virtuous individuals for personal gain. However, we often come up with various excuses, believing that their virtuous abilities must have a background and must rely on some kind of relationship, even if they don't have much background. It doesn't matter. I would also think that he was just very lucky and seized a certain opportunity. Still attributing others' excellence to opportunism, it seems like we are analyzing others.
But this lack of recognition of others' excellence actually masks one's own deep self-worth.
When you give yourself another command, it's hard for me to have such an opportunity. I don't have his background either. I also don't have the connections he has, so I can never reach that level. That's why it became a sincere uprising, and Sun Xiao only complained about himself, blamed the unfairness of fate.
Sun Xiao said, "Foxes are sober in times of disaster."
What did I do to offend heaven? Why is heaven treating me so unfairly? Why am I so miserable? Students from Wenbo learned to rise up. When they arrived at Qi Kingdom, Prince Qian saw them. He couldn't refuse, so Wenbo students met with him. But these people saw Wenbo students as both dragons and tigers, showing their status through every move and action. They didn't come to seek teachings but to see where Wenbo students fell short, especially in terms of etiquette.
When both students were weakened,
He told his disciples, Prince Qian saw us today, and he must have some reason for doing so. I originally thought there would be something we could resonate with. Who knew they came to tell me my way was wrong, seeing me as their father and themselves as their sons.
after meeting me, it's like a father educating his children, or like a parent whose children are worthless and overworked, expressing that kind of care and concern.
In fact, doing what one is good at and doing what others are not, which means that many aspects of what Wengu's students do are not as good as his, refers to where there is a heart that seeks the path. What we call seeking the path, what we call the two hearts in the alley, must be looking for that one resonating field to find that 1+1. It's a field of energy greater than Asia, not a bone in an egg, not someone else's thorn. Everyone has their shining side. We can see each other's shining sides, and we can merge into one, forming a field where our voices fly high and harmonize with each other, using others' fields to make up for our shortcomings. I criticize pig farming, and I blow on, while the water has already been released into a strange sight. I've arrived at my home.
Looking around here and there, he even ran into my yard to dig through the rat holes and pulled out some food. Then he thought I wasn't even a saint.
I say, when a man skillfully governs a sacred person, he doesn't think of himself as a disciple. This sentence of mine can be described as a case of managing two things at once. I have moved away from this concept, from the concept of gods and saints. In the West, when someone cares about me, they call me a cow. When someone cares about me, they call me a horse. No matter what you call me, no matter how you evaluate me, I don't think these are important. Another one thinks they are procrastinating. This self-awareness is not arrogance but a genuine seeking of the path to liberation. It transcends external evaluation and is like Laozi's philosophy. Self-awareness means learning without thinking you have learned nothing. It means striving towards the way from our own essence and root. So everything must be elevated through our own inner growth, rather than self-pity or self-righteousness. Admitting others' excellence isn't that difficult. Admitting others' excellence can definitely transcend oneself and unite with it. One recording.
All right, let's stop here for today. Thank you for watching.